Hey there! Allow me to paint you a picture of the ideal Exodia follow-up team. First, we have a flying pig. Then, we have a dude dropping pillars onto people. Following that comes Aventurine, dropping dollar bills on the enemies. Finally, to complete this team is the idol. I know this team sounds a bit goofy on paper, but trust me, they can take out Thanos. This is a very strong team that perfectly synergizes with one another. The point is, if you plan on upgrading your follow-up and tag teams, Aventurine is a must-have. And I don't use that phrase often. However, is Aventurine worth it outside of the follow-up and tag teams? That's a bit more complicated. As always, aesthetics over mechanics. If you like the character, poll first, questions later. Let's talk about Aventurine.
I don't make deals that don't pay off.
We are quite fortunate because after making Black Swan almost as complicated as a modern Yu-Gi-Oh card, Hoyo has decided to make Aventurine's kids much more easier to understand. Just think of Japard, but better. We might have to double check that they don't share the same last name because he makes Japard look like a little bro. So what does Aventurine actually do? Well, Aventurine is a defensive sustain character who keeps your team alive by giving them a bunch of stackable shields, while providing effect resist stat boost. Additionally, Aventurine can trigger a follow-up attack upon reaching a certain number of stacks on his talent. His talent stack is called Blind Bet. There are 3 ways for him to build up Blind Bet. The first one is through his ult. The second one is whenever an ally with Aventurine shield gets attacked, he will get a stack. The last one is whenever an ally with Aventurine shield launches a follow-up attack, he will get a stack. After he accumulates enough stacks, he launches a follow-up attack which then provides more shield to his team. You should be able to see how this is basically a loop. The team helps Aventurine get stacks, so Aventurine can follow up attack which gives shields. Rinse, repeat, victory.
I don't make deals that don't pay off.
If you ask me to give you one reason why you should pull for Aventurine, then I can say that the most important reason to pull for Aventurine is for a seamless fit in follow-up attack teams. As mentioned earlier in his kit's overview, when he accumulates enough stacks, he will launch a follow-up attack, which then provides more shields to his allies. That in itself doesn't seem too impressive, but that's only the case in isolation. It is very different with follow-up attack teammates. Follow-up attack characters such as Topaz and Dr. Ratio are constantly triggering follow-up attacks every other turn. Everything that Topaz and Numby do are considered to be follow-up attacks. And Dr. Ratio triggers a bunch of additional follow-up attacks from his ult and his talent. The more follow-up attacks the team does, the more shield Aventurine can give to the team for 0 SP through his own follow-up attack. Aventurine can lower his SP usage on his skill if his teammates are doing enough follow-up attacks. To simplify that, just remember this. The more teammates launch follow-up attacks, the more SP efficient Aventurine becomes, because he doesn't have to use his skill as often to generate shields. So it is in our best interest to surround him with teammates that can launch follow-up attacks. It is the least we can do for him. I mean, come on, the dude needs a hug. With all of that said, the greatest indication of whether you want a character or not is to try that character out. Luckily, we get to playtest Aventurine during the 2.1 story quest. I'm talking about actually trying him out. Unlike that time when they gave us that Jing Liu trial which only had her auto attack and nothing else. So if you haven't already, go give Aventurine a test run in the main story quest.
I don't make deals that don't pay off.
Aventurine is the perfect fit for follow-up attack teams. What about non-follow-up attack teams? Well, he will be fine in non-follow-up attack teams. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's compare Aventurine with his competition. Starting with Japard. Remember earlier in this video when I said, just think of Japard, but better. We might have to double check that they don't share the same last name because he makes Japard look like a little bro. You see, one of the main reasons I said that is because Aventurine has way more reliable ways to shield his allies. It can be through his talents, his skill, his traits, and potentially his ult. That is 3 ways to shield his allies, 4 if you get lucky on his ult. Japard on the other hand can only shield with his ult. This can be dangerous if the fight starts and Japard doesn't have his ult already. I can say that from personal experience using Japard. Aventurine's ult also inflicts a debuff, making him one of the few sustain characters that can apply debuffs to enemies. That is good news for Acheron players who want to just squeeze out a little more uptime for Acheron's ults. There is something that I need to clarify. Aventurine isn't perfect. He does have his flaws. First of all, his effect resist increase has some RNG in it. He is a gambler after all. It isn't a complete 100% CC prevention like Fushuan's skill. But on the other hand, it has unlimited usage until his skill duration runs out, unlike Fushuan's CC prevention that can only be used once and will need Fushuan to use the skill again to refresh it. That was quite the mouthful, so let me just illustrate it for you. Imagine Kafka is trying to use her mind control on one of your allies. Fushuan's skill is active, so it blocks Kafka's mind control. The next time, however, when Kafka uses her mind control on the same ally, they will get hit by that mind control. Unless Fushuan uses her skill beforehand to refresh the CC prevention count. In the Aventurine scenario, Kafka can try to mind control your ally multiple times without success if your ally's effect resist is high enough and you're lucky enough. This also means the opposite can happen where you don't roll a natural 20 and your ally still gets hit by the mind control even with a high effect resist. This kind of fits perfectly with Aventurine's gambler persona now that I think about it. He is literally all or nothing. So in my opinion, I kind of prefer Aventurine's effect resist increase because it adds more usage in it and you don't have to refresh it constantly. As I alluded to earlier, Aventurine's SP consumption is related to his potential allies. If you can surround him with a bunch of follow-up attack characters, that can reduce his SP consumption. This does put Aventurine in a weird spot on paper because he can be as SP efficient as Lord Cha or be as SP heavy as Hua Hua. All of the other sustained characters in the game will have the same level of SP consumption regardless of their teammates. That is different for Aventurine. So I can only say this, Aventurine's SP usage in most teams is fair, with the potential to be extremely efficient depending on who his teammates are.
I don't make deals that don't pay off.
As for the subject of future proof, I'll keep this short. Just like how Black Swan and Kafka are essential to dot teams, Aventurine will be essential to follow-up attack teams. He synergizes so well with follow-up attack teams that the only way I can see him getting replaced on this team is if Yuumi from League of Legends crosses over to Honakai Star Rail. Additionally, once Robin comes out in 2.2, the Exodia follow-up attack team is basically complete. I haven't really talked much about Robin in this video, and that's on purpose. She deserves her own spotlight.
I don't make deals that don't pay off.
Now, am I polling for Aventurine? Unfortunately, no. This decision has nothing to do with Aventurine himself. Trust me, it could have been Jesus himself and I wouldn't poll. It could have been 5-star March 7th and I won't poll. Heck, even Megazord Pom Pom won't get me to use my Stellar Jades. But for everyone else who doesn't have a fixation on Sam, I highly recommend going for Aventurine if you plan on building a follow-up attack team. However, if you already have 2 top tier sustained characters, then you could skip Aventurine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.